It's Feisty Fridays again, and it is a windy, blustery day today. I took the dogs for a walk. That's right, dogs. We got a second dog since I last was here. And yeah, it was windy and I got blown, but that's okay. I got blown to smithereens. The hair is messy, but I am present. And things I want to talk about today. This week, I have been thinking about a big leadership mistake that I see actually pretty much everywhere. And if I'm honest, which I am always wanting to be feisty and truthful, it's a mistake that I make myself. I have made, I probably will in the future. And it is that I often confuse capacity with commitment. We assume that because someone keeps saying yes, that they must have room for more. And certainly, if you work in volunteer organizations, you hope because the volunteers keep delivering, because the people that you keep asking say yes and show up. And in the showing up, a lot of times they don't complain. They make it look like their capacity and their commitment are the same thing. I've done it. Have you done it? And I've also been a leader who has failed to understand the difference between the burnout of the very people that I value the most and not really seeing the signs or thinking about the people on my team who are the reliable ones, the ones who do the volunteering, the ones who take ownership and accountability, the ones who find a way when everyone else is stuck. And I assume that they have capacity. I think you probably know what I'm talking about because I think most of us do this. Most of us are guilty of being more committed than having capacity, and most leaders are guilty of ignoring the cues. Because when something important needs to get done, those people are the first ones we think of. And I think that's where the problem really can begin. Because high performers, and I can speak about high performers because I am one, they often become victims of their own competence. Put my hand up. Victim. More capable than I am, the more work seems to find me. That's right. Because that reliability and dependability means we attract more responsibility to our plates. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Certainly, the more committed that a person is to wherever, the more everyone will assume, well, they are committed. And with that commitment means, well, they must be able to do it. Until, if you're like me, one day you realize that you're carrying far too much. Or, like me, also as a leader, you realize that person has been carrying far too much. They don't have capacity, but they are committed. And one of the biggest myths, I think, in the modern work culture is that burnout happens because people don't care enough. It's not true. I think people care a whole lot. And I think people care also a whole lot about balance. But in my experience, burnout often happens because we care too much. Because we care about the team, because we care about the people, because we care about the members in our organization. Many of us are so focused on the mission and the client and the outcome that we forget that when we keep saying yes, it's not always because we have capacity to do it. It's because we're committed to those really good things. And the challenge as a leader is that those reliable, capable people, their performance can hide their exhaustion. You know, Someone like me, I'm very aware that I can still be delivering excellent work while operating far beyond my sustainability, which means that excellent work is short lived. I can still hit deadlines. You know what? I can still answer all the emails. I can still actually even attend the meetings, and so can you. And let's face it, some of us, including me, can still smile and say, oh no, it's fine, it's fine. And so much of that in my own experience has been the theater of performance and professionalism. And it's brought me a lot of success, but success can be an excellent disguise for exhaustion. And I think that's why leadership and the call for us as leaders means we need to look beyond the output. And if the only question we're asking is the work getting done, then I think we're missing something incredibly important. Because I think a better question might be we need to ask ourselves, at what cost is the work getting done? What's the cost to the individual? I work with a lot of volunteer organizations, and we need to be asking, what is the cost? The toxic cost to the individuals in our volunteer organizations? What's the cost to the team, to the morale? What's the cost to the long-term sustainability? Because if we as leaders just focus on getting results, that may not be the healthiest, most honoring way to create conditions where people can continue to contribute tomorrow. And we don't just want tomorrow. We want next month. We want next year. We want 5 years from now for people to still be able to contribute. And I think this is especially important, like I said, in volunteer organizations, because project environments and helping professions, I think we're really guilty of this. I think places where people care very deeply means these places, we have people that are willing to go the extra mile, places where commitment is celebrated. And because commitment is a wonderful thing, we should celebrate it, but it shouldn't be without boundaries, because those boundaries can become sacrifice. And commitment without capacity, well, it can eventually form resentment. And resentment means people start to feel taken for granted. People start to nitpick. People start to look at their neighbors and feel like, well, they're getting more attention than me. I feel overlooked. Is all the work I do invisible? What about me? And if we FM, what's in it for me, becomes the focus that someone on your team, volunteer or otherwise, starts to really focus on, remember, it may just be a capacity issue. And it's not because anybody did anything on purpose. It's not intentional. It's not malicious. It's because people didn't stop to ask whether capacity was still connected to the commitment. And really smart, really wise organizations care about capacity and commitment. And they ask the kinds of questions like, who are the people you always rely on? And when was the last time you asked that reliable person what all they're carrying? What responsibilities have perhaps quietly accumulated for them because you're just glad that they're hitting the deadlines? Great leaders will find out more. Great leaders will engage them as interest holders and measure their commitment and their capacity together. Because leadership, regardless of where you are, is not about finding the people who can carry the most. It should only ever be about creating environments where nobody has to carry more, where sustainability is easy because we carry one another. And so that's what I'm thinking about this week. And remember, I suck at this. I have sucked at it, and I may yet suck at it in the future. Because just because someone is willing doesn't mean they have capacity. So I would encourage you to ask yourself what I'm going to ask myself this week. And that is, do I have capacity for what's in front of me? Can I, between today and next Friday, really honestly complete the commitments that I have made? Or am I at capacity? Because remember, capacity and commitment, they need to go hand in hand. So that's what I'm thinking about this Friday. See you next week.